Welcome to the third video in this series. This one's going to be all about live performance, how I get ready to hit the stage and do my thing as a musician, as a performer. Once again, this is came out of the survey I did a little while ago, recently, that you might have filled out, where people were really interested to know, a little bit more about creativity, songwriting, and performance and how I get ready. And it is a pretty fascinating thing. Before I was a performer, I would go to see concerts and I would wonder, if they did anything beforehand to sort of get in the zone, or, and some people don't and some people do. But in this video, I'm sort of going to tell you a little bit about my journey with kind of live performance, starting with the fact that I'm not a natural performer, that I really had to push through a lot of discomfort to do it. The first time I performed my own songs, I almost cried. I was so nervous, and I'll tell you that story. And then I'll share with you a few of the things I do now to prepare for going on stage and putting on a show. And speaking of, again, I'm going to play you some music, and I'm going to put on a show for you today. I'm going to play a beautiful song at the end here. So really, I suppose this story starts with, even before I became a full-on performer, I was learning guitar all through my teens, and I was asked to be part of like a little concert thing that was happening, and I was so nervous about it that on the day that it was happening, and it was happening on a Sunday, and it was part of this Croatian community little event that was being put on. My parents are Croatian, and they were going to be there, and all these people I knew were going to be there, and I just didn't show up. I actually stayed at my girlfriend's house the night before, and I just didn't go, and I didn't even tell her. And it wasn't until afterwards that I sort of felt a bit embarrassed about it and felt ashamed, and I reflected and I wondered, why didn't I go? And I thought, I didn't go because I was kind of scared. I was really afraid of getting on stage and performing. So that reinforces the thing that I'm not a natural performer. It's not the thing I naturally want to get up in front of people and say, hey, look at me, I'm doing cool stuff. It's something that became a means to an end in a way. I really wanted to share my music. I'm passionate about my music, and I have some messages in my music I want to get across. And so I sort of had to embrace performing and learn how to do it. So yeah, that was sort of my first experience with dodging getting up in front of people. And then the next time that it really happened was when I decided, I was in my early 20s, I just started writing songs, and I decided, I think I want to do this. I think I want to, write songs and perform and maybe go on tour. And I only had an electric guitar at that time, and I signed up to go to an open mic night where I could go and perform some of my songs. And I had to borrow an acoustic guitar from my friend. And so I went to his house, I picked up the guitar, I went to the venue, I put my name down, and as we were getting closer to my performance, I was getting more and more nervous. I was tuning my guitar, and I was like, and I didn't invite anyone to come. I didn't invite any friends, family to watch this happen, because I really just needed to do it on my own and see how it went. And then my name got called, and I went up on stage, and I was about to start the first song, and I was going to do a cover song of a band that I really liked at the time called Augie March. And I said, I'm going to play this Augie March song. And the MC of the night, who introduced me, offside of stage, he just kind of said really loudly so everyone could hear, and he was trying to be funny. He said, oh, I hate that band. And it just shocked whatever nerves I already had. It just turned it right up, and I was like, oh my God, I was already nervous, and now the MC doesn't even like this band, and no one's going to like this band. And my heart was just like pounding in my chest, and my mouth went all dry, I couldn't remember what the first chord of the song was, and I was just so nervous. And then I finally, I got into it and I started, and I sort of kept it together and I performed the song. And after the first song, people clapped and I was like, oh, okay, cool, I got through that. And then I played an original song that I'd just written like a few months before, one of my first songs ever. And I was really nervous and I introduced it and I played that song and I got through it. And then, people applauded, and then I got off stage, and then this guy came up to me and said, oh, that was really great. And I took some photos. Hey, give me your email address and I'll, send them along to you. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks. Yeah, great. And it took me a little while. And then I stuck around and I watched the other bands. I packed up my stuff, got in the car. And as I was in the car, it sort of dawned on me that I'd just done something that was quite scary, but I got through it and I was alive. And it was I've got one in the bag. That one's done. And then I remember going to my friend's house and I had his guitar and I handed his guitar back to him and I said, I think I'm going to keep doing this. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep doing this. And it was a moment where I sort of decided, okay, this is something that I actually, even though that was a bit scary to do, I really loved it. I was doing it for real. And so since then, I've performed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of concerts. I've toured all around the world. I've played to thousands of people. I've toured with amazing artists who are playing to thousands and thousands of people and being on stage with them. And at times I'm not nervous at all, and other times I still get nervous, and it's quite weird. But these days I have a lot more control of it, and I'm going to share a couple of the things that I do to sort of manage that. And another reason I wanted to share those tools is because, in lots of surveys that have been done, the number one fear that humans have is public speaking. And so there's the Jerry Seinfeld made a joke about this where he was saying, at a funeral, most people would rather be giving the eulogy. Sorry, most people would rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy. So they'd rather be dead than doing the public speaking. So it's something that's very deep in us as human beings, and it's quite a vulnerable thing to do, to get up and be in front of people and sort of be scrutinized and judged and analyzed and things like that. And especially when it's your own music, then it's even more. It's like you're wearing your heart on the outside and people can just throw darts at it. So can be quite a scary thing. And so over the years, I've come across lots of different stories of major artists that you would never guess that they get nervous, but they do. And when I sort of discovered this, it was really good to know that, okay, I'm not the only one. This is a thing that happens, and it's just something that I need to manage. So one of those people is Adele. So you'd think she's had number one hits and all that stuff. She's performed the Grammys, done all of that. And she was quoted as saying, I'm scared of audiences. She says, I get shitty scared. In Amsterdam, she was once so frightened that she escaped out of the fire exit in Brussels. She projectile vomited over somebody, and she copes by telling jokes. So she talks a lot of crap on stage. And she also fortifies herself with an alter ego called Sasha Carter, a combination of Beyonce's Sasha Fierce and June Carter. My nerves don't really settle until I'm off stage. So it's pretty interesting. Even Beyonce has said when she was singing with Prince, I was so scared and in my shell during rehearsals, the Prince actually had to tell her to belt it out. Barbra Streisand, she stopped performing live for nearly 3 decades. And even today, if she's going to perform, she insists that there's a teleprompter so that she doesn't forget the songs. And she has a teleprompter even for her banter between songs. So there's lots and lots of other examples of that. But when I started learning that, I was like, oh, okay, this is actually pretty normal. And I just need to find the tools to handle it. So there's many more stories I can tell you, but I might just get into sharing some of the things that I do to manage it and then play you a song. So I'm going to share five of these main strategies that I use. The first one is by far it's kind of the easiest to do, and it's the most reliable one to do. And it's very simple, and it's to be prepared. So being prepared for a gig allows me to just be present in what's happening in the gig rather than being in my head and thinking, oh, I didn't do that thing and I'm a bit unsure about, that section of the song, and does the drummer know that we changed this bit, and are they going to get that right? And all of those opportunities of doubt, the best way to deal with them is not when I'm on stage, but it's to deal with them like weeks and weeks ahead of time to make sure the band is really well rehearsed. I've done, loads and loads of practice, so I know the songs back to front. Even this is something I probably don't do enough, but I even know, some of the stories I might tell about different songs, so that I have something to say to the audience, so that it's all sort of covered, so there's no dead air and awkwardness as part of the show. So practice is really important, and there's something that I think about with practice, which is when you perform, or when I perform, I don't always rise to the potential of my best performance. I tend to fall to the level of my practice. And that's what they say in sports and things like that, that we don't tend to perform at our best. We tend to kind of drop to our level of consistent practice. And so that sort of inspires me to make sure I've practiced everything really well. And that allows to have like a baseline that's really good. And then on that night, for some reason, if I'm really feeling it and everything's clicking, then it kind of can go up from there and be a really awesome performance. But there has to be this kind of minimum level of excellent that even if things aren't perfect, that the performance doesn't drop below that sort of level, that I'm not like forgetting songs and forgetting lyrics and having nothing to say between songs, and the band is all over the place or whatever. Like, that's sort of not going to cut it. So practice. The second one is related to that, but I think about creating my own sense of certainty. So I'll get nervous about a gig if I'm uncertain about things, even if I don't know who the sound person is, or I don't have details about the gig or whatever. And the fear really is the fear of the unknown, that I don't know what's going to come out of the blue and I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle it. So creating as much certainty as possible by removing unknowns is simple things that I do. Like, I get all of the info about the concert ahead of time. I make sure the band has everything they need. I know that the set list order is done and that's sort of locked in and everyone knows what's happening. I have my stories ready, messages to share for each song. I've met with the sound person and given them all the information they need. The merch desk is all set up, and basically everything is set up. And that removes all of the uncertainty of someone saying, oh, what's happening with this and what's happening with that. And also I have backups of everything that I need. I've got extra packs of strings. I've got extra batteries for all of my things. I've got extra cables in case one of them dies. So being really prepared and creating my own sense of certainty. I know that all that stuff's there. If anything goes wrong, I can sort it out like that. Number 3 is one of my favorites. I use this all the time, and I recommend that you use this as well. You can use this for, if you're going on a first date or a job interview, or you've got some sporting event that you're nervous about, or you've got a performance, or you've got to get up in front of a class and talk about a project, whatever it is, anything that you're feeling nervous about. Basically, there's a story that we're telling ourselves that things are going to go wrong. And then we start to be nervous about it. We think, I'm going to be giving that speech and I'm going to forget all the content and I'm just going to be standing there looking like an idiot. So once you've done the preparation, then I do this simple thing where I take my phone, and if I'm in the car on the way to a gig and I'm on my own in the car, I'll have my headphones on and I'll put the voice recorder on, and I will tell myself all the reasons why it's going to go really, really well. Because my mind is telling me the reasons why it can fail. And it's important to listen to that and go, oh yeah, actually I do need to do that thing. But most of the time, those things aren't real and they're not going to happen. And so instead of having that conversation, I change the conversation that's happening in my mind to be focusing on all the things that are going to go really well and why I'm really excited about it, what's positive about it, what I love about it, what I'm going to get out of it, what other people are going to get out of it, and how it's really an overwhelmingly positive thing that's just about to happen. And so I'll just talk in my phone. I'll just be saying, tonight's going to go really, really well because I've practiced all those songs. The bands, they have all their charts. In the last rehearsal, it all sounded really great. I'm happy with how that's all going. Ticket sales are really good, so there's going to be a really awesome audience there. They're going to be there because they want to see us perform really well, and they're going to be really supportive, and the audience is always really supportive. Blah, 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 right? And just tapping into all the reasons why it's going to be awesome rather than all the reasons why it's going to suck. And that really helps. So I go through that process for about 4 to 5 minutes, and sometimes I'll just be repeating some of that over and over, and I'll just be looking for more and more positive things to focus on. And then once I've done that, I'll just play it back to me, and then I'll just listen to it. And then I'll just take it in. And it's a form of just mesmerism. I'm sort of brainwashing myself to expect it to be really good. And that has a massive effect on my whole physiology. I'm just feeling like it becomes like, this is so obvious that it's going to be really good. It's so obvious it's going to be a really positive experience. I have absolutely nothing to worry about. And if something comes up, I'm going to be able to handle it. It's not going to be a big deal. And, once I step into a venue and get ready for a gig, in that state of mind, everything just flows. My communication with everyone's better, the sound check goes well, and I just feel comfortable, and I can really just perform rather than kind of holding things back. So I highly recommend you use that little tool. And if you do, let us know in the comments below how that feels to do that. All right, number 4, the fourth thing that I do, I learned this from my good friend Mick Young. He has a band called Young Werther, and I played guitar in his band. And I remember once before we were going on, we were a little bit nervous, a little bit excited, and there was a really great crowd. And he just came up to me just before we went on stage. He said, "Hey mate, let's just love the audience. Let's just get into this loving state and just be present and just give them everything we've got. Let's just love on them." And I was like, okay, cool. And it just put me into this state. I was like, it got me out of any state of fear, because you can't be in a state of fear and in a state of love at the same time. They just don't mix. So if I got into the state of love, that state of fear just sort of disappeared. And I was like, oh yeah, I just really want to give what I have here and make this a beautiful experience for the audience. So remember, that helps me to remember that in the thousands of times that I've done performances, no one has ever heckled me and it's never actually gone badly. Ever. I can't, except maybe that first time. But apart from that, I've had very, very positive experiences every time I've done a concert. So tapping into that and just thinking, the audience is there to have a good time and enjoy it, and they want me to win. And so I'm going to just get into that state and do that. And I'm sure when you've been at a concert and if a performer's there and they forget a lyric or something, there's normally like this little pause, and then the audience starts applauding, and they're like, yeah, because they want the performer to do well. And if I'm in the audience, and I see someone kind of struggling or they forget a lyric or something happens, a guitar string breaks or, you're just like, yeah, it's okay. We love you. Just keep doing what you're doing. So that really helps me when I get into that frame of mind of like, the audience is here to have a great time. I'm here to help them have a great time. It's all good. Then everything just goes, ah. And then the last one, the fifth one, is an idea that I really like, which is express, don't impress. Which means once the music starts, it's all about staying present in the music, connecting with the story, connecting with the imagery, the emotion, and really expressing the song as purely as I can right now, rather than trying to impress the people in the room. Like, I'm going to do this cool vocal thing and it's going to wow everyone, or, whatever, I'm going to do this crazy cool guitar solo, or I'm here to try and convince the audience that I'm awesome. So when I come back to just expressing at the deepest level, that's actually when it tends to connect better, rather than if I try to impress them by doing something cool. Because, I'm not necessarily super cool, so that doesn't work. And yeah, so thinking about what the audience, I get out of the mind of thinking about what the audience might be thinking, what I should have done differently with a melody, that I should have worn a looser belt so I can sing better. And all those things sort of, once I'm on stage, disappear, and I just sort of move into the role of being an artist who's expressing themselves in the moment before an audience. And that sort of, it's quite a vulnerable space to be in, but that's when things really hit the mark. So there's really only a space for being and feeling and expressing what I have, and no thinking. So all the thinking, like I mentioned, must be done way ahead of time in the practice and the preparation. And then when the moment comes, it's just all about, I'm just going to express, I'm just going to give what I have right now. So what do you think? What do you think of that? Hope that was helpful. Hope that was interesting. I highly recommend that you try some of these things out. Even, I don't know, if you have some social anxiety, the next time you're going to go to the supermarket, do that little recording. Tell yourself all the reasons why going to the supermarket's going to be awesome. and just notice the shift that happens and the experience that you have from that. So thanks heaps for watching this. We might wrap it up. I'm going to play you a song. Before I play the song, the next video is going to be coming out in a couple of days. It's all about the Backstage Pass sort of experience. Keep your eyes peeled on your inbox for that. Don't miss that. It's a really important video. It sort of summarizes everything that I've been talking about. And also on that video, you're going to get access to a heap of music. So I'm going to be giving you access to a music prize pack, tickets to live shows, an offering of unreleased music, some behind the scenes footage, exclusive music video access, an invitation to an intimate one-off private concert I'll be doing, and much, much more. And from doing the survey and these videos, what I'm ultimately trying to do here is create a deeper experience for you as a music lover to get to dive deeper into, this creative world and be part of, my musical journey, essentially. And I feel like there's some awesome ways of doing that. Yes. So leave a comment below. What did you find most interesting about this exploration of sort of performance and how to manage all that? Any parts of the stories that you liked, please let me know. Any insights you had, anything you learned that you'd like to share. Always love hearing from you. I would recommend that you use some of the tools and then let us know in the comments below what your experience was like. What did you get out of it? And if you know anyone who might be into this video or this video series, you can send them the link that's in the little workbook that you can download, and they'll get access to some of this cool stuff too. And this song I'm about to play you is called That's So Pretty. You can also get a free download of this on this page over here somewhere. I think it's on that side, not that side. And that's the recording from my latest album, Golden Moment. It's free for you, for being here, for showing up. Really appreciate you. And here we go with a song called That's So Pretty. All right, let's make sure. Might put this down a little bit, so you can see the guitar as well. Here we go. Well, I truly could not believe as she got down on one knee, how indifferent I was with the true love she offered me. And whoever said it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all, has never fallen in love and never met with what awaits at the end of it all, at the end of the fall. Yeah, well, that's so pretty, oh, and that's pretty too, 'cause baby, everything always looks so good on you. And the stinging of my sins remain when I met you. I spent so long looking into your eyes, and they're making me ever so blue. My body holds a memory of just how close you love to be. Just how close you love to be held. Now there's a flash in my mind that knows your face so well, so vivid, oh so clean. Now it places it each and every night in my dreams, my drowning dreams. Yeah, well, that's so pretty, oh, and that's pretty too, 'cause baby, everything always looks so good on you. And the stinging of my sins remained when I made love to you. I spent so long looking into your eyes, now they're making me ever so glad. My body holds memory of just how close you love to be. How close you love to be held. How close you love to be held. How close you love to be held into me. Oh, and that's so pretty, oh, and that's pretty too. 'Cause baby, now what to do? 'Cause everything but my love looks good on everything but my love looks good on you. Oh, everything but my love. There you have it. That's so pretty. So you can grab your free download of that song, download the booklet. Also, the lyrics are in the booklet if you want to listen to that song and sing along. Thanks heaps for being here. Really look forward to seeing you in the next video. It's coming in a few days. Don't miss that one. It's going to be awesome. There's some really great announcements coming up in that one that are going to be very unique that I think you won't have seen or heard anywhere else. And that really, again, came from you, from the survey that people responded to recently. And I hope you love it. So I look forward to seeing you then. All the best. Have a great couple of days. And leave me a comment below. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.